Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 66 and we have a good one for you today. Today's fish is a fish that's very rare in the United States, extremely important, has led to a lot of recovery efforts, become very indicative of the area that it's found. Today we are going to be talking about the Razorback Sucker. Now this is not the best picture, but it is one of the best ones I could find of a full Razorback Sucker underwater. So we'll go to this one. So Razorback Sucker, or scientific name Xyrauchen texanus. Xyrauchen texanus. It is part of the family Catastomidae. We have done catastomids before. That is the family. So the suckerfish, the northern hog sucker. Originally, this fish was found all over the Colorado River basin, but now it's really only found in rivers upstream of the Grand Canyon and 4 reservoirs below the Grand. And when it was found throughout the river, it was found in all of the medium to large rivers and lakes that were on that river basin. So this is kind of rare in that it is a predominant river fish, but can adapt to lake life extremely. If you can tell from this picture and from the first picture, they usually have this olive brown, olivaceous, dark brown sort of back. But they can be rather pale as well. Here's something else. They get that just that dark olive color. It goes to the back. Then it transitions into this very yellow belly, yellow stomach, but it's a grading. So it's not just like a sharp line. It starts and then you'll have some discoloration and then it goes down. They're rather smooth. I'm not saying that it's not completely smooth, but it is there. Something else about these, if you can notice, they have a rather apparent lateral line system. Remember, lateral line is what the fish use to detect changes in pressure, the waters. And along with that, they have these very well-defined scales. So you look at these pictures and you can see they're not small scales. You can see almost every individual fairly. Now they do have this subterminal mouth with these real fleshy lips. That's, relatively common in the sucker family. They're eating algae, insect larvae, kind of scooping around in the bottom. But I know, ping. What about the very obvious thing, this giant hump back here? Well, yes, that is very obviously the most indicative thing about this Razorback Sucker. You can imagine this hump, fairly unique to this species. I understand this. Yes, it is a bulge. It starts right behind the head, and it's between the head and the dorsal back fin. But something that you might have seen is that it's rather sharp edge, not a like super round hump. It's not like a humpback. Got this rather sharp edge, which makes you think that it's probably to help cut through current. Being able to be on the bottom, you can tell that it is a bottom dwelling species. So it is found in lakes and rivers, large rivers. Very bottom with that very flat belly. That's with that razorback, is probably to help hold them in. Now these are a fish that can get rather large. I'm not going to say huge, but they can get rather large. They can get up to 91 centimeters, which is about 3 feet, and get to weights of about 6 kilograms, 13.2. A rather thick-bodied, decently sized fish. That's the big one. Your much much more often, they're much more common at around 50, about 1.6 feet. And I imagine about that 6 to 7. Still respectable. It's not quite to the giant. Something else about this fish is they are actually a rather long-lived fish. Older fish have been estimated to be at more than 40 years old, which is rather old for fish. Both males and females mature at age 4, so they actually do have a very long life cycle. They can, if they live up to 40, that gives them 36 years of potential spawns. So, you'd think, being in large rivers down at the bottom, be kind of hard. Well, these are rather endangered. There's a lot of efforts going into it. We'll kind of talk about that as well. But in terms of their spawning, we talked about males and females mature at the age of 4. Well, spawning actually occurs in late winter or spring. Basically, think of like the spring rains, things like that. These are not found in the most, how do I put this? Not the most wettest areas of the United States. They're found in rather dry areas. So there's not like there's snow melt or things like that. But when the spring rains do come, or in the late winters, the Razorbacks will come up to these small gravel bars. They actually have adhesive eggs, gluey eggs. Those eggs stick to each other and stick to other things. And they attach to the spaces in between gravel on these gravel bars. And there will be a single female that has 2 to 12 males follow her around, and the female will just spawn repeatedly, and then the males will just continue trying to spawn with her as well. So the female will lay her eggs, and the males will come and spray their milt and try and fertilize, and she'll do that multiple times, spreading out her eggs around. But something interesting to note about the eggs, turns out that hatching success is really dependent on water temperature. Complete mortality, meaning no eggs can survive at temperatures less than 10 degrees Celsius or about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So definitely makes you believe that these are in the warmer areas. Now, we talked about how endangered these are. These fish have been part of overfishing for commercial fishing, just complete eradication efforts. I mean, these things did get very low and were in significant trouble. In fact, in 2012 and in 2013, the Razorback sucker was detected in the lower Grand Canyon. These were the first recorded sightings in Grand Canyon National Park since the 19th. So these recovery efforts have been successful. The largest portion of the population lives in the lake. I can't remember the lake right now, but that lake population has been used to kind of supplementally stock fish throughout the rest of its native basin. And there are other sort of restocking efforts going on, reproduction efforts. So there's a lot of effort going into this fish, and not just this, a lot of fish within the Colorado River Basin of the United States. But this definitely is got a lot of eyes on. And speaking of eyes, the interesting fact I'm going to end the video on are the eyes of this fish. The eyes are actually very selective to what parts of the UV spectrum that they see. Particularly retina that receives light from below. Why? Well, the Razorback actually spends most of its life at depths where UV light cannot penetrate. So you think about that. We talked about how they were in medium to rivers, in lakes. Well, they're hanging down there at the bottom. It's so deep that, sunlight doesn't actually penetrate all the way. And then, but we talked about how they came up the shallows to spawn. So they're coming up onto those gravel bars. What will happen is the males will actually kind of stake out a breeding territory. Basically, this is my area. I want to protect it. I think this is a good area for a female to come. We will make a home and make. If another male actually enters that, the male who has already claimed that spot rolls the eyes downward, and it reveals the upper third of the eye. Most of their light, their detection stuff is down at the bottom. When that upper third of the eye gets exposed, it actually flashes. It flashes the reflected sunlight, and the strongest the reflected flash is actually in the UV spectrum, meaning that while we can't see it too well, other razorback suckers can actually see it extremely well. So what happens is this male, is down here at the bottom. He's got his area. Other male is at the top, or not the top, but he's swimming above trying to find a spot. The male down here flashes his eyes. Male up here says, "Oh, there's already a guy over here. I better go," because he might get angry with me. So that's how they kind of talk to each other. Signal other males, "I am here. Do not come over here. My territory." Something else, just a little interesting fact: females seem to have no reaction to those eye flashes. Do not seem to. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones.